everyone. Welcome to a lesson on being able to label lines and angles. The concept might sound a little bit simple, but it's also very easy to make mistakes with this. So we're going to start with some basics here. We're just talking about labeling lines. And there's actually three different kinds of lines. Lines, line segments, and rays. So we're going to go through each one and show you how to label each of those, okay? So let's say we have a line. If you remember, a line is this line with arrows at the end that will go off in directions forever. And for you to label a line, you need to have at least 2 points that are labeled on that line. Because the way you represent a line is this right here, where we have the 2 letters, and on top of them is a line with arrows. And this is actually very important, and we're going to see just a moment why that's very important. But you must have arrows at the end. It's such a simple mistake for people to make to forget their arrows. Include it, or you will be marked wrong, because let's take a look at a line segment. If you remember what a line segment is, it's just like a line except for it is not infinite. And typically both endpoints of a line segment are labeled. In this case, it's E and F. Take a look at what E and F looks like. Boom. Do you guys see why we had to have arrows for RS? Because EF doesn't have arrows, because that represents a finite segment, a line segment. Now, that should seem very straightforward. And if you remember what a ray is kind of like a hybrid between a line and a line segment, where it has a starting point and then it goes on forever. And once again, you still need to have 2 points, and one of those points has to be the end point. And that's always going to be given to you anyways. But the way you represent this is you actually do a combination of what we did over here, and it looks like this. But there is a problem with this. You must remember that order matters. Look at where the ends are. Whatever end is the end point, that must also be where the non-arrow is. So see how M is first? Boom, we must put M right next to where there isn't a point on the label. Just like how N is closer to the arrow, so N will be next to arrow when we label it. And that's how you're going to label lines, guys. It's very straightforward. You've probably seen this before, but I did want to get this down. But let's talk about labeling angles next, okay? And here's the thing about labeling angles. Order matters, all right? What I mean by that is, well, let me show you a few ways I could represent this angle. A good way to do this is very basic. We can call it angle M. It's pretty nice, right? Angle M, very straightforward. But what would be even better is I could call this angle LMN. I can use all 3 points. Notice how M is right in the middle. The order does matter, LMN. And I could go backwards too. For M and ML. The only thing I can't do is to mix up the order. Whatever is at the vertex, whatever's at that angle right there, that must be what's in the middle. An incorrect answer, angry face, would be angle LNM. Notice that does not follow the exact same order. M is not in the middle, so that would be a bad way to show a labeled angle. Now you're probably wondering, what's the point of these 2 middle ones? Isn't it just easy to do angle M? Well, let me show you guys, what if we had a bunch of angles bunched up together? It looks like this. But all I wanted to talk about was this angle right here. Well, you wouldn't want to say angle V, right? Because which angle we're talking about? We're talking about the small angle here, the other small angle here, we'll put the bigger angle right here. We don't know. But a good way to do this, right, is to say angle RVS. Look at that, guys. See that? It's very clear which part we're talking about. So my advice is, when we're talking about angles, use all 3 points. Don't use one, because it is possible that you'll be too vague and you will be incorrect when you talk about that angle in geometry. Now, the last part of this lesson is very brief. I just want you to talk about like how you'd represent the measurement of angles. So say we wanted to talk about angle ZYX, but we wanted to specifically talk about the measurement of it, which is 30 degrees. Well, all I would do is put a little m in front of it, which stands for measurement, and write it as equals 30 degrees. So if you see that m right there, that does mean we're talking about the measurement. But if it looks like this, that means we're just talking about the overall angle. We don't really care about the measurement, but then suddenly, boom, we care about the measurement. So there is a difference there, guys. Don't forget that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or ask me in class. But otherwise, that's it for this lesson. You guys have a good day. Bye.